Hi everyone. I don't know where to start because everything feels like it's falling apart. I never thought I'd be sharing my story like this, but I don't have anyone else to turn to. Maybe, by sharing my experience, someone out there will feel a little less alone. My husband, let's call him Alex, is divorcing me 4 weeks before our baby is due. I'm 28 years old, and I've never felt more scared, lost, and isolated. We had everything planned. The nursery, the baby clothes, even a name picked out. And now I'm left wondering how everything went so wrong. It's hard to believe that the man I married, the man I trusted with my future, could turn his back on me at the most vulnerable moment of my life. But this is my reality now. I'm here to share my story, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and maybe find some clarity along the way. Alex and I met 6 years ago. I was fresh out of college, working my first job as a junior graphic designer. He was a bit older, confident, and charming. We met through mutual friends at a party, and I was immediately drawn to him. He had this charisma about him, the kind that makes you feel like you're the only person in the room. Our relationship moved fast. Within a year, we were living together, and 2 years later, we got married. At the time, everything felt perfect. He was supportive, loving, and attentive. I thought I had found my forever partner. Looking back now, I can see the cracks that were always there. But love has a way of blinding you to the warning signs. Our first real fight happened about a year into our marriage. It wasn't over anything major, just the usual disagreements that happen when two people live together. But what stood out to me was how he handled it. Instead of talking things through, he shut me out. He would give me the silent treatment for days, making me feel like I was the problem. Over time, these silent treatments became more frequent. He would belittle me during arguments, calling me lazy or ungrateful. I remember one night, after a particularly bad fight, he punched a hole in the wall. I was scared, but he apologized the next day, promising it would never happen again. And I believed him. One of the biggest challenges in our relationship was alcohol. Alex loved to drink, and at first, it didn't seem like a problem. We would have wine with dinner or a few beers on the weekends. But over time, his drinking escalated. There were nights when he would come home drunk, slurring his words and stumbling around. He became unpredictable. Sometimes he was loving and affectionate. Other times, he was cold and distant. The turning point came when he ended up in the hospital after a particularly bad binge. That was when we both decided to quit drinking. We've been sober since January 2024, but the damage was already done. Sobriety didn't fix our relationship. It just brought our problems into sharper focus. In June, I found out I was pregnant. It wasn't planned, and, to be honest, I wasn't sure how I felt about it at first. I had always imagined having kids someday, but the timing didn't feel right. Our relationship was already strained, and I worried about bringing a child into such a volatile environment. But Alex was excited. He assured me that this baby would bring us closer together. He promised to be more patient, more understanding. And for a while, things did get better. We started preparing for the baby, and it felt like we were finally on the same page. As my pregnancy progressed, Alex's behavior started to change again. He became more irritable, more distant. He would snap at me over small things, like if I didn't cook dinner or if the house wasn't spotless. He called me lazy for being tired or sick, ignoring the fact that I was growing a human inside me. One night, he took my car keys away after an argument, saying I didn't deserve to drive. Another time, he punched another hole in the wall. I started to feel trapped, like I was walking on eggshells every day. We tried couples counseling, but it didn't help much. Alex would put on a show during sessions, acting like he was the perfect husband. But at home, things were different. He continued to belittle me, calling me names and making me feel worthless. I started seeing a therapist on my own. And that's when I began to realize just how toxic our relationship was. I started standing up for myself more, setting boundaries. But instead of respecting those boundaries, Alex accused me of being too sensitive, of holding grudges from the past. The breaking point came a few days ago. Alex told me he wanted a divorce. He said he couldn't handle the constant reminders of his past mistakes, even though those mistakes were still happening. He claimed that my refusal to forget the past was affecting his mental health. I was devastated. I'm 36 weeks pregnant, and the man I thought I would spend my life with is walking away. He's taking most of the furniture, the baby things we bought together, and he's threatening to fight for full custody if I'm not cordial. Right now, I'm scared. I'm scared of raising this baby alone, of not being able to provide for my child. I'm scared of how my family will react when they find out. But most of all, I'm scared of the future. I have about $200 to my name. I don't have a job or a car. The house we live in belongs to my parents, so at least I have a place to stay. But I don't know how I'm going to pay the bills or afford a lawyer. I haven't told my family yet. I'm dreading that conversation. They've always been supportive, but I know this news will break their hearts. One of my biggest concerns is custody. Alex says he wants 50-50 custody, but how does that even work with a newborn? I want to breastfeed, and I'm the one who will be taking care of the baby full-time. Alex will be on company leave for 6 weeks, but after that, he'll go back to work. He's already threatened to use my mental health against me. During my first trimester, he told me to go on antidepressants, or he would tell my OB that I was mentally unstable. I'm terrified that he'll try to paint me as an unfit mother. I don't know what the future holds, but I know I need to be strong for myself and for my baby. I've started researching my legal options and looking for jobs. It's overwhelming, but I have to keep going. To anyone out there who has gone through something similar, I want you to know that you're not alone. It's okay to feel scared, to feel lost, but we have to keep moving forward, one step at a time. Thank you for listening to my story. If you have any advice or words of encouragement, please leave a comment. I could really use some support right now. Closing Hook Life doesn't always go as planned. Sometimes the people we trust the most let us down. But in those moments of darkness, we find our strength. We find out who we really are. What would you do if you were in my shoes? How would you move forward? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts.